What's going on, everybody? It's your boys James and Rob, and we're back for another episode of the Ascendant Nerd Podcast. We have both seen Predator Badlands last night, and we're going to discuss it in full. We're going to talk about how we felt about the movie, what we liked, what we didn't like. So we're just going to get into it, man. You want to go first, or should I?
No, I'll let you go.
All right. So, in general, I don't want to say like when I left the theater, I felt okay about the movie, right? Um, because in general, it's not a bad film. Meaning, if it didn't have the Predator title on it, I would have probably absolutely no issues with it whatsoever. But it likely would have been a film that I would not have gone and seen. And because, because it's a Predator titled film, that was the incentive for me to go and see it. Okay.
Right.
But the story, in and of itself was not an earth shattering, groundbreaking thing that I just needed to see. It was because it's associated and, directly the Predator franchise that led me to wanting to see this film. So, after seeing it, I left with a interesting, just like, okay, wasn't exactly what I was thinking. No, it was exactly what I was thinking, but just the execution of it just went in certain places where I was like, okay, I see what they did. Don't necessarily think that that's a great thing, but I see what they did. But as I was driving home and it started to really settle on me, and as the conversation about this film has progressed, the more that people have seen it online, uh, I'm starting to err towards the side of not liking it, but I'm trying to prevent myself from doing that. In short, I don't feel like this is a good Predator film. I feel like it is a good sci-fi film. Um, it has loads of action, but my problem with this film is that it relies heavily on the notion of us relating to these characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
The ones that look the most like us are mostly emotionless because they're synthetics. Minus one, which her name was which one was Thea? Was Thea the bad one or was
No,
Tessa?
I believe Thea was the good one. If I'm not mistaken, I could very well be wrong.
Yeah. But the one that Deck befriends is the one that seemingly has artificial emotions and sees things from a certain type of scope. We could sit up here and do a quick deep dive on what it meant between her and essentially her synthetic twin and all that stuff, but not doing it. um, but that's the closest that we have to humans for us, and so that doesn't leave us much. Then you have the Yautja, and this is the first time on screen, and most people, and I hope that people would not fight me on this point. Most people are Predator fans simply due to the films. Okay, very seldomly are people going out into the comics and or novels. Not saying that they don't have it doesn't happen, but
Yeah,
majority of the people are
yeah.
not.
Typically, with a franchise like this, you usually come across it and become a fan of it from seeing a theatrical release, like a film.
Right.
It's seldom do you find people who jump into a franchise of that magnitude off of video games or a comic book because they're
Right.
so obscure.
Right. So, um, this is the first time that we've seen this level of emotion on film, and it has to ride that emotion because we as an audience, as humans who have through all the movies that we have watched so far, have been the prey of this species. So you're wanting me to feel something for something that will kill one of us, rip our spinal columns out, skin us, and use whatever is left, whether it's a skeleton head or whatever as a trophy. That was a very tall task.
Hmm.
Very tall task. And I believe it was a huge swing, partial hit, partial miss. Um, because it ended up sacrificing some of the key things that make a Predator film a Predator film. One of the most glaring things for me was the lack of heat vision throughout the entirety of the film. We had it in one scene in the beginning and it looked
Hmm.
good, and then that was it. So, how you can have a Predator film from the Predator's point of view without the Predator's vision, that's a very unforgivable mistake, in my opinion. Also, I understand the journey that Deck was on, but his lack of honor is very troubling to me, especially because of his ambitions. If it was just about him taking down his father, then I would have zero issue with how he handled himself, because he was sentenced to die by his father, um, seemingly excommunicated from the clan until he did something worthy enough to be
Be
respected.
accepted. Yep.
Yeah. And he goes out, he, in my opinion, from the code that we're given in this film, and I want people to be very honest about official information versus unofficial connections, because I understand that in written media the code is extensive and they you know have different things that they adhere to, but in the movies they're it's going to change. Do you agree with that,
Yeah.
James?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I'll take you one step even further. It's a clan by clan basis. There
Hmm.
is a baseline code of honor, but that changes from clan to clan. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah, so people trying to treat this as like the 10 commandments, like come on now. Like we have to, I really don't want to get into that discussion, but if we must, understand that a film that, or a novel or comic that references a movie and is connected to it superficially because it's just a what if story, versus something that is licensed and literally said to be like an official continuation of this story, are two different things. And I
Hmm.
hope that people understand and know that. But anyway, moving on. Deck pretty much has, in my opinion, broken the code several times. Because he's talking about how he's basically supposed to hunt alone. This mofo gets help. And he's literally rationalizing it to himself as, you're a tool. Okay, I can buy that. You're a tool. And I'm just like, you can't be serious, bro. This is why they see you as weak. Like, you're
Hmm.
trying to get their respect, and here you are, rationalizing. And mind you, I don't necessarily have a problem with it if he's going to ultimately like not try to be a part of the clan. But
Absolutely.
this is one of the first things that you do, aside from giving the android the weapon to save you. Because if we're if we're being honest and synthetic, if she had not intervened when he first gets down there, like he's done. Like he's dragon food. Did you notice how that dragon looked just like dragons from the House of Dragons? Did you notice that? Or from the what's that show called? I literally said House of the Dragons, but Game of
You talking
Thrones.
Game of Thrones?
Mm-hmm. Did you notice that? That thing looked
No, I
like
didn't.
that flying thing looked like a dragon from that show. I don't know if you noticed that.
I really wasn't. It makes sense that you say that, but I really wasn't focused on making any other type of connection besides Easter eggs that they threw directly in my face. I wasn't even searching for those.
Yeah, but let me I'm gonna finish. Let me sum it up. But yeah, let me quicken it up. But basically, man, he throws his honor down when it comes to accepting help. Um, you know, and ultimately at the end of his journey, he's supposed to kill this thing to bring it back, right? And he ends up not killing it. The android does. And then he blindsides the android. Okay. And he comes back and he put he gives like the synthetic head down to his father. I'm just like at this point, I'm just like the father. I'm just like, dude, what are we doing? What is this? Because he's not being honest. Like it's a thing of like I took out the thing that took out the thing that I was supposed to get.
Yeah.
But you really didn't do the thing, bro. And then to make matters worse, you befriend the offspring of the thing and have it as like a friend slash pet or companion. And that to me, it just, if this is supposed to be my first introduction from the predator's point of view, this is just, it's a hard sell when it comes to that. But when it comes to the action, action was pretty solid. Um, and that,
Well, before we start moving along too far, I just want to piggyback off some of the things you
yeah,
were saying
please,
about
please,
Deck
please,
and his
please.
journey. Because what I found the most interesting is the small word crawl at the beginning. Pray to none, friend to none.
Yeah.
Along those lines.
I
And
got it. Hold on.
in in,
I
in
typed it
written
out.
word,
Yeah, it says pray
yeah,
to none, friend to none, predator to all.
so in words and in tone, Deck's story goes against all of those things
Yeah.
and honor and in written word. So it's a complex storyline from the beginning, and he goes against everything that we're being shown or
Mm-hmm.
we already knew to believe.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of rubbed me the wrong way because there's no explanation as to who, what, where, when, and how, and why he ends up on the journey that he does and adopts these tactics. Like it's an honorable thing to do, even
But
though he's against all odds. And I'm with like I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and
mhm.
credit for some of the things he was able to accomplish, but in the same breath, he's treating it as if he is an honorable warrior, and by his own code, he's not.
Yeah, he isn't because he failed to do the thing that he went out there to do, and mind you, when it comes to his code, he's not going to kill a what's considered a baby. So I get that. But everything about his journey was about his own survival. Like he was just like literally just doing things to survive, and I can appreciate that. But
Mhm,
don't try to pass it off as honor.
mhm.
Like don't
Like
try.
he's
Yeah,
like
go ahead.
he's still trying to adhere to these strict rules and regulations to you know defend the honor of his brother that died for him that saved him. So like that part of the story, yes, absolutely. That is in itself an honorable characteristic, but the way he carried himself and how he conducted himself with the codes that have been bestowed upon him his whole life, he did not do any of that at all.
Yeah, nah, I agree. He let it down, and my thing is like I know, or we know ultimately at the end, he's saying that he has his own clan.
Right.
Like yeah, that sounds good, bro, but like let's be realistic because again, what was this journey for? Because if it was really about fully restoring your honor and coming back, earning your cloak, you know, revenge on your father and being a part of the clan,
Yep.
this wasn't the way to do it, in my opinion. He took shortcuts. So it's really difficult to respect the journey. I understand it. I, somewhat empathize with it. And I say somewhat because being honest, sitting in the theater, I did not have much empathy for him as a character. And I came in with a pretty open mind.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know what you like. What did you feel?
I feel like the opening scene with his brother, and then when his dad shows up, and before he initially gets sent off to the planet, I really I really enjoyed the emotional depth of it because I felt like that's as a start. I thought this is where we needed to be,
Hmm.
but slowly as we started to progress, it got away from all of that.
Hmm.
I mean, in a scene that took what 2 to 5 minutes for his brother to get cut down by his dad, and the ship autopilots away after he hits his gauntlet. Like we don't really capture that again, even though like the movie has its moments where you know when they're being serious and you know where they're trying to be slapstick funny.
Yeah, the slapstick funny thing, like I chuckled, lightly chuckled, but again, for a Predator film, it was a risk, and a risk I would not have taken.
Yeah,
Um,
because for a Predator movie, when you leave the theater and you question yourself about the emotions you feel when you leave, you're not expecting to walk away with slapstick laughs and joking mannerisms from the predator or anything that would be around because the stakes would be so serious, like the tension would be so high. Like there really isn't room for a lot of that.
mhm. Okay, so pivoting, what do you feel like the film did well?
I mean, for a baseline, the way Deck's story starts off, I really liked it.
Hmm.
Now, once you get into the middle and end of it and how it comes together chronologically, not cohesive as I wanted it to be. And then story wise, in terms of writing, I feel like there are just some holes that were left out. It
Hmm.
just didn't make sense to me.
Hmm. Okay, for me, again, the action was the number one thing.
Hmm.
And I do feel like the reason why this action stands out is because he's an undersized predator. So you're going to get more. You're either going to get like a long range person trying to be stealthy and not be seen, which is what most of them do anyway. But when it does get up close, you're going to see quick, fast, nimble, evasive movements, because that's literally the only way that you play to the strengths of somebody that's so undersized. So they did really well with utilizing his skill set. And and I think that's the one of the things that I think the film well should have done better is what exactly makes him weak aside from his size. Because when he's literally fighting, he's really not bad. Like even when he was fighting his brother, like yeah, the brother was just better, but you put him against most things as we saw. Deck was being that dude, man.
Well, we had a little bit of this conversation yesterday, and you kind of put it into perspective for me, and that made me think about the audiences, what I'm saying, across the globe as a whole. When you're watching the film, it's not outright told or displayed to you that yes, like his he's small, he is a runt, so that's
Hmm.
his disadvantage.
Hmm.
But you outright saying like, hey, like his best attributes are like how you said, being nimble, being fast, being smart, plays to his advantage in a fight. Not the way that he's been trained all his life to be this big, strong brute, and using these certain tactics that are based on strength and stature and things like yeah. So like he probably does lose to his brother and things like that. But as you see, as the film progresses and he's in these different battle scenarios, he handles himself quite well. Actually,
Yeah, no,
he's not a bad fighter.
exactly. And I think that's one of the things that the film like it's like it does well, but it also does poorly because the idea is that I'm supposed to buy that he's not good, and you didn't do a good job of that because I felt like he was
Well,
good.
and that brings me to the very last fight and why I have issues with the writing, like chronologically in certain events.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that happened in this story between that planet, the monster he was hunting, and the synthetic that he killed to the point where he comes back home to Yautja Prime, smokes two predator guards and the clan leader like it was almost nothing.
Hmm.
There's nowhere written in that story in that film that's to show or suggest that he gained this ultimate level of confidence or skill over predators who are bigger and stronger than him, who have more experience than him as well.
Yeah, because even though he took out and fought against some things on that planet and adapted, used some of its natural resources as his own.
Yeah,
Outside of
like
that,
the face mask. You know, he had his own little armor. He used a live action, like a live animal as a shoulder cannon. I
mhm.
thought that was unique. That was something I never. I really appreciated it, but it didn't do enough.
Yeah, and it was kind of like a somewhat call to the alien, because I was thinking about it from Prometheus and how you had that like worm thing that got a hold of the black goo.
Yep.
And yeah, like so it kind of gave me that vibe, even though it wasn't spitting acid, but it definitely had acid in it. So it kind of gave me that vibe. But yeah, like I was like, okay. Like I wonder, like it actually made me wonder, was that since especially since Wayland Utani was there, and this is something I haven't brought up in live chat to you. But what if the black they like perfected the black goo and that planet is a result of the black goo and some of its well some of its inhabitants, but then that would have to mean that they all would have acid for blood though, right?
Now, see that is a very interesting and tough question. Couldn't give you a straight up answer. I
Yeah.
couldn't give you a yes or a no.
Yeah, but all right, don't crucify me, audience. But that was just literally a thought that like dropped in my mind just now, just based on that worm thing. But no, and to the film's credit, I believe that it called back heavily on the first Predator, switching Arnold with Deck, or Deck with Arnold, or yeah, Arnold with Deck, because when he's getting all of the things together and making makeshift weapons and stuff, that's literally Arnold prepping for his final showdown. You know, the scene where he starts the fire and is raising his sword, yelling. That's literally Arnold in the jungle, raising the torch up, yelling, calling for his his hunter to come. Like, it's time to go, and all of that and the symbolism with that. Um, so the callbacks were actually, I think, very thoughtful, and I did appreciate them, but it just wasn't enough to make this a great film. You know,
I'll be honest, Rob. The Arnold callback, it blew me in the worst kind of
oh
way. I
no,
I didn't appreciate it. Now I'm
oh
not talking
man,
about the gathering of natural resources to create weapons and armor and things like that to outsmart his opponents because he's at a disadvantage. I'm simply just speaking to the scene where he strikes his sword on the ground and creates an explosion and roars.
hmm
Corn chip fest. I did it. It didn't invoke what they wanted it to.
but
Now,
it was still thoughtful.
for people like you who immediately can call back to it because that's exactly what it was. That's not the first thing that pops into my mind when I'm
hmm
seeing him doing it. I'm not thinking about Arnold
I
in the
got
first
you.
movie. I'm just not.
Like even the waterfall part when he falls in the waterfall, it was another callback. Like there was some thoughtful, like, okay, I see what you're trying to do there. You're trying to keep us in the keep us in the
No,
fray.
they definitely gave us things, and then the one that stood out to me the most was the wolf thing because one of the most badass predators we ever seen on screen was Wolf from one of the worst Alien and Predator movies, AVP Requiem. He's
Yeah,
one of the coldest we've ever seen. So like
but
that, it didn't rub me the wrong way, but I felt again, it's kind of like the Arnold thing. Like you're not doing it in the justice and the light that it deserves with this character in particular. Like
the
I understand the homage, but I
mhm.
don't think it was needed in that capacity.
Well, the wolf thing didn't really hit for me because I kept thinking about Prey. And that was one of the Predator's victims in that film's that was one of his first victims in the movie.
Mm.
and I and forgive me audience because I know people highly revere Prey, but I thought it was such a silly showdown when they did it because I'm just like, what is this tiny ass wolf going to do to this predator, bro, that he can't barely see? And they had them had that showdown where they're on opposite ends, and they splee blitz each other, and then one just collapses, and I'm just like, over a wolf, bro. Like, what are we doing? Like, what are we like?
No,
Come
but
on now.
that's how I felt when I seen the barrel explode and then the pan out to the screen. That's how I felt that. I'm not even
Mm.
gonna lie. But it's funny that you brought up Prey because in contrast between Prey, Killer of Killers, and Badlands, what film would you say overall as a Predator movie did you enjoy the most?
It would have to be Prey,
That's what I'm saying.
and that's an
It's such a
easy answer.
wild concept.
Because I hated Killer of Killers. I hated Killer of Killers because to me it nerfed predators to an unbelievably like disgusting magnitude. It just, some of these things were just so unbelievable, and just it's so contrary to what we've seen from predators. Like, one of the most unforgivable, like there's a lot that's unforgivable about Killer of Killers. Like, the strength of the Viking woman, that blew me. I'm like, so she's really cutting people in half with however 15 1600 year shield with some steel on it. Her literally just punching them is enough to cut them through in half. Are we serious right now? A regular human and a woman at that. Back then, the malnourished Vikings. Are we serious right now? And then she goes up against a brute of a predator and wins? Like, what are we talking about? And I think overall, my problems, and I hate to pivot to this point, but my problem with Killer of Killers is that aside from it being in the past, these beings are capable of interstellar travel, which means
Mhm.
that they have, like, regardless of how you feel about their tribal, um, I guess, society, we people are always forgetting that these are very intelligent beings, meaning that they have gotten the science of space travel down packed. Now it's going to consider, if you, because they in the movies they haven't even tackled that yet, right? So
Mhm.
it's, if you believe in whatever novelization may have touched on it or comic may have touched on it, that's your burden. But for me, the movies haven't tackled that. So the imagination is up there in terms of how they have access to this type of technology, how they're able to continue to upgrade it. Because again, what's interesting about the Yautja is that they're a very tribal society, clearly, but they have access to like this tech that is far beyond what humans are capable of, even into the future, like current
It's,
times.
and that's another interesting concept that they introduced to the movie that I find contradictory, which
Yeah.
they don't explain at all.
Well, yeah. Go ahead.
They have they showcase these energy based weapons
Hmm.
that either plasma or laser, however you want to define it.
Hmm.
It is a fire starter. It can cut through things,
Hmm.
even the bow and arrow, the daggers, the glaive. Like they have a different type of weaponry we haven't seen before.
Hmm.
And then we also have never been on Yeltsin Prime to see how they actually live or what actually goes on.
Yeah.
Besides an MVP Requiem when they call Wolf and he's just sitting there chilling with a wall of masks and he's sitting in a metal chair. Like that Yeltsin Prime looks nothing like the clan that Deck pulled up on at the end of the movie.
Do
As
you
far as
also think
advanced
it's
as their weapons and technology looked, that crib looked very rudimentary.
true that, yeah, but don't you think it's also interesting that things that they like, and this is just in general, like a fatal flaw I see with this franchise, like they'll have lighting with their eyesight, bro. Like, why do you need light to shine on stuff when your spectrum of seeing light is completely different, bro? Like, they can see in darkness because they see heat signatures. So the only thing a light is going to do is cause a heat signature to make something that you're trying to view probably less visible. It's not the same
And
spectrum.
I mean, and going down this rabbit hole, I mean, ultimately, just off that point,
It's just for the
it
audience.
leads to my biggest dislike and the problem with what I thought we were going to get based on what we didn't get.
Hmm.
Ultimately, no information or any type of real lore or
Yeah.
understanding of the Predators themselves, all we did was go to the Ultra Prime, leave, and come back.
Yeah. We didn't they
And
didn't move the needle.
I thought it was my first inclination of something's not right is when he first straps the synthetic, I think it's Thea, to his back, and they're walking like on the cliffside. She's asking him questions.
Yeah.
What clan are you from? How do your weapons work? Things like, and it's in a joking manner, just to
Yeah.
pass the time. Like these are just shots of them walking to a destination so they
Yeah.
can rest. But those are legitimately the questions that we want answers to and what we want to see on screen.
Yeah.
Give us the backdrop of what's actually going on so we feel more attached to the lay of the land.
Yeah. No, I agree. Especially for a film that's set way out into the future. Because if I remember correctly, this is supposed to be a film that's even after Alien Resurrection. That's what I was led to believe. So
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I feel like I saw information that said that. And so
That's something I never checked out, but I think I might have to do that.
yeah, I'll so don't crucify me. I'm just guessing here because I really do feel like I saw that somewhere. So if it's that far into the future, um, I don't feel like the needle moved much on their technology. And personally, like I guess the bow and arrow thing with the energy things kind of cool, but again, like we didn't get anything aside from seeing two Yautjas have conversations in a friendly way. Um, and I guess a family dynamic from a clan
I'd say
perspective.
at most, lore wise, what we got about predators or Yautja
Oh, and they have kid toys
is,
that could kill you. But go ahead.
yep, is basically just that if you do have a runt or somebody that is weak, they get not just extra, you get killed. You get
Potentially,
cold.
potentially, potentially, because in fairness, that's just one clan. It could be different in another. Potentially.
Right, but I'm saying but the way they explained it as the movie goes on, with Dak is strapped down, and the other synthetic that looks like Sia, the bad one that's running around doing things, she's explaining that part of the story like they kill weak ones, and that's the end of that. So that's
Yeah.
the only information we're actually left with. There
Yeah.
is nothing else that describes the actual culture of what goes on. Because even when Dak had his father on his knees, he tried to back out, tried to tell him like, you," like he's like, "Nah, bro," and it all.
I will say
So
this: the
at the end of
father.
the day, was it really about getting vengeance in honor of his brother, or just trying to end a chapter in that story because your brother essentially died because he was saving you?
Yeah, but his father. I mean, his brother gave him specific instructions, and he twisted it. My man said, "Bring it home." And my man brought home the child, bro. Oh my gosh, man! I just like it's just
And like, audience, don't get us wrong. We don't dislike this film. We're
no.
not saying it's a bad movie.
It's more about the disappointment of what we were looking like, of what we didn't get. It's more about that because this is to me this is a groundbreaking point of view, and he just went so contrary to what we're used to. Um, because like just baseline, predators are brutal. They're not friendly. Like essentially the code that we saw in the very beginning of the movie is exactly what they are, and that's just not the vibe that I get from Deck. And hopefully he's an outlier, right? Um, but the thing is, like, if this continues, if the franchise continues under this director, what is going to happen when humans and Predator have to interact? Because you've gotten this character to somewhat be likable to the audience. I say somewhat because I believe that some people were talking about they were crying in the theater and with certain parts, and I'm just like, not me. Um, but what's going to happen when there is a conflict? Because seeing him kill synthetics is one thing, but what if he got to go after somebody that looks like you? Are we going to be so? Oh, look at little Deck. You know what I'm saying? Like, are we gonna be like that? But circling back, man, you really ain't say much about what you like. Is it anything else you liked about the film? Anything?
Uh, I'll say I enjoyed the action. Like I'm big on action and the fight scenes. I have nothing bad to say
Yeah, it
about.
did that very well. It did that very
Like
well.
I would say my favorite action would be when he's fighting all the synthetic soldiers. You know what I'm saying? He gears up and does his thing
Hmm.
with all the natural resources he could. Like I appreciated that. It showed a lot of resilience for him as a fighter. I saying the story, the way the story starts, the backdrop of it, that's what I thought we were getting for most of the film. And they were going to fill gaps with emotion and things like that. But it's
Hmm.
more of the opposite.
Yeah.
I'm saying my good and bad opinion really just falls in the middle. I just really wanted that lore drop. I really wanted more understanding
Yeah.
of them as a species and how things work in a more simple kind of way, but you could still tell the story you want to tell within that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because
Like.
essentially what I was going to get to was is basically the title for this interview for Dan Trachtenberg on IGN
Hmm.
because his words, he insists on he doesn't want to insist on retreading and remaking the same thing over and over to
Hmm.
risk upsetting everyone. I don't think people really need another version of just that movie. Referring to basically the cookie cutter stereotype of Predator films that we're used to, more akin to what he did in Prey. But for me personally, I feel like that's a cop out.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Instead of actually doing your homework
Be-
and doing your due diligence to present us a Predator project that goes in depth with what we want to see, instead of what you want to present to us. So it's something everybody can enjoy. And even in the article, as it goes on, he knows and understands that there are purists of this franchise that aren't going to be okay with what we saw. He
as
is
long
very
as
much
he's
so right.
as long as he's aware of that, like I can't be mad at that because some people try to act like I can't believe that you don't like this thing, and they really try to shame you for not liking the stuff that they done that they know that they intentionally did to switch up something that
Okay,
OG
see, and
fan.
now you're hitting on something because I didn't feel like he was taking shots
Yeah, no,
as
and,
a
yeah,
purist. As people who've been in it for a long time and have different type of expectations, he didn't go out of his way to try to hurt us or undermine what we
yeah,
felt because
yeah,
he knew what he was doing. So, like,
yeah,
you're absolutely right.
yeah. Like I can respect that. Like as long as you tell me up front, I mean, I can't really be mad. And as
Mhm.
long as you handle it with a certain type of grace, because here's the deal. To me, the lowest that this franchise went was the Predator. That was the like I don't know if you remember back when that came out and
Oh yes,
how
yes,
how
yes.
how me and Zach was going at it. And I was just
I
like,
wasn't there for that, but you made me aware of what was going on.
oh my God. I was so livid with him because he was really trying to defend this movie. And I was like, bruh, a predator dog that got a lobotomy in the middle of the film, and now it's a damn predator pet dog to a human. Like, come on, man, we gotta stop this. We like it was just too much, and too much of the slapstick comedy when yeah, just and they wasted the potential of like a super predator, bro. Like, and it just
Mhm.
yeah, the film was so bad. And prior to that, I had Alien versus Predator Requiem as the worst film because literally they were trying to fix the mistakes of Alien versus Predator being PG-13
Mhm.
and then gave us all the gore that we were missing from that first film and then
Yep.
turn around and gave us a horribly acted story. It's like the acting in that movie was
Perfect.
horrendous. it was
And
it,
and your best action scenes were some of the darkest scenes we've ever seen in cinema.
oh my god, like
Can't can't
the
make out
chest
what's
bursting of the
going on.
kid. That was wild when they did the chest bursting with the kid, man. His father had the
Yeah.
thing on his. I think did he have it on his face or he had already was the father already dead? Well, either way,
Um.
yeah, either way. it's not funny, but I definitely was like, oh, like I can't believe they went there. But it was such that movie was so bad, bro. It was so bad.
Right. And that's me on the opposite end though, because theatrically, like chronologically, as you watch the movie from beginning to end, it's ass.
It's so
Just like
bad.
the same way people have critiques about AVP.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be all the way honest. I love those bad movies just simply for the action, just to see a predator fight an alien. I'm all there for
Yeah, like that part
alien
was
hybrid.
cool.
I'm sold. You got my money in the bag. Make a shitty movie. I'm there.
So yeah, so for me, this franchise has just been in a bad place. Even though I felt like Predators was really good. I don't know. I mean,
Mhm.
I see because part of it, because now we're kind of transitioning into talking about the fandom. Part of the issue that I have with the fandom is that they won't allow anybody else to fill Arnold Schwarzenegger's shoes. Because to me, the goat of the franchise is the first film, hands down.
Mhm.
Number two is a great follow up. It is such a good follow up, and people just like because it's Danny Glover, people don't buy it. But you put another actor that you respect in his shoes, they instantly like the film. It's such a good follow up, bro. Like, and it was such a clever idea, especially how they marketed it. Like, you went from the jungle to the city, and you
Yeah.
going it's like against drug lords in the middle of the summer, like with these
Mhm.
cops spread thin, man. And like just it was such a oh my god, and some of the weapons that he used that was upgraded at the time that was an excellent follow up. Um,
Mhm.
so I don't know what people are on, criticizing that film, but a good third place is Predators, man. They just did. I feel like people didn't respect it because of the lead actor. Can't think of Adrian Brody because he's a
Yeah.
smaller guy, you know, and it's
I,
like
I
Arnold's
I
time is
enjoyed
done,
it for
bro.
what it was. There's definitely some. It definitely gets more fishy down the line in the story.
But it gave us
But
a lot of lore.
when you can write in a character like Lawrence Fishburne's character, you winning.
But bruh, they had like, what did that film do wrong?
For me, because see, I like them, and those older Predator movies, I like them and dislike them for different reasons. For me, it always boils down to I don't care about what you're showing us. What are you telling us? What are you outright saying? Why isn't it being outright said? And why aren't you outright telling us? Like the the three predators. We don't know why they're bad blood. We don't know why. We just know that they don't operate on the same wavelength as other predators do. They do their own thing. The same concept I was talking to you about in Killer of Killers. It doesn't make sense for them to die the way they do and operate the way they do in a hunt based on honorable predators we've seen. You have to come out and let the audience know that these aren't your normal cast of guys that do things this way. They do things like this and have a certain mindset. So that's why you get the outcomes you get. There has to be a way you write that in. There's no
Well,
way you don't.
I think the intention was to have a follow up to that. I really do. I think if there would have been a true follow up to that film, that we would have gotten the answers because Lawrence Fishburne's character gives us a tease because he tells us it's a blood feud and it's been going on for a while, and
Right.
and it's like oh
It gives us an inclination, and that's very good because I did forget about that.
yeah.
But it get like a prequel with his character being there, how long he was there, to more explain. But again, that's my
I feel
problem
like
across all these
I
movies.
do
They're
feel like there
not
was
giving us the information we need to have a complete backdrop of story about the Yautja. Period.
I feel like there
It's
was a
not right.
comic for that. Being fair, I do. I just don't remember. Um,
But see, that's Predator and Alien comics. They live in obscurity. You have to be in the niche of a niche to even know that that even exists
yeah,
for even a particular storyline that you're looking for. And even then, are we actually getting the backdrop of lore that we need so regular people in the audience can understand what's going on?
Well,
because then
regular
you have the
people.
purists like us questioning, like, where is it?
Mm. Well,
And then
well, with
the
Badlands,
regular
yeah.
audience is glossing over it. It doesn't even exist in their realm of thought.
Yeah, now with Badlands, I think that's a fair assessment. But I feel like we got a lot of information with Predators, man. Because look, you literally this is the first time that you see that they actively capture people, and they capture people that haven't been hunted before.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a completely different like twist. Because it was
Right.
like before you're going to the planet and you're hunting and trying to find the prize of who's the ultimate kill.
Mm-hmm.
Now you've observed people, you feel like they would be the ultimate kill. Now let's bring them all together and see how they do on this planet. Let's keep doing it and perfecting our skills or whatever. So that's what this clan does, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's a lore dump. Then you see how they were systematically like testing them, to see, who did what their weaknesses were, things like that, showing a certain level of strategy and intelligence. Like, not saying that we didn't know that they already possess intelligence, because again, interstellar travel. But
Yeah, they definitely showcased it in a different way.
yeah, so we had that, like, and we're using other species of animals that they controlled, or creatures rather, that they controlled to like be a part of this whole game thing. Then you get the classic predator being chained up and like knowing that there's beef, and in a moment, like they will have an alliance with a human, because in that moment that predator's not hunting, it's trying to survive. And
Right.
like it really did give us, in my opinion, it gave us a lot. And it also showed that like once you are one of these people that are picked, there ain't no going back home, bro. They don't care about
You,
you going home, bro. They're just like, no, you just gotta be here. Like you bested one of us.
you're,
Yeah.
yeah, you're absolutely right about that perspective.
That movie gave us a
And
lot.
and that's how I see that movie, and that's one of the ones I really enjoy. Besides the what we get with Lawrence Fishburne's character,
Yeah,
but I'm just
I
thinking
think
on
you
this
wanted more.
perspective of
Yeah,
the average audience member. That stuff is not clicking like that for them.
true, true,
It just isn't.
but for some reason, this movie is though. This Badlands movie is.
That is a fact. Kind of
but
hurt
I
my feelings. I ain't gonna
but
lie.
but I do think it has a lot to do with the state of emotions from where current, a lot of people are right now. And without being, people taking it personally, I'll leave it at that. We kind of touched on it on the Superman stuff, but I just think that has a lot to do with it, where, the era of the type of filmmaking that we're used to and that we want is
Mhm.
just not as prevalent anymore. Um and for, even though that it would still resonate with us, it's not something that is being delivered to the masses right now, and that's okay.
Yeah,
Um
and to take it one step further, I don't even think that's what the masses want to see. To be honest, at this point in juncture where we at with movies, I don't even think that's what people want.
I don't know, man. I
I think it's a small minority of us. I think is really switching over.
Yeah, I don't know. But the future of the franchise, man, like, where do you see this going?
Now they have all the potential in the world to keep telling stories how they want to tell them. They have they have access to two of the most iconic and important alien type beings in sci-fi history. They'll be able to print money. And if we weren't necessarily high or low on this movie, and everyone's reception on it is great.
Hmm.
Now, I'm not going to knock them for that. But as we move forward, I don't want them to dig their heels in on superficial things that really don't do much for the actual history and the stories of these creatures.
Hmm.
Regardless if they give us a alien mashup with Predator and Deck or not.
Mm-hmm. I will
But
say,
that's just one.
for me, from what they introduced with Alien Earth, with the xenomorph being, I don't want to use the word controlled, but I guess there's no other way to put it, but controlled by a synthetic from another company. Um, and now we have the Yautja who is working with a synthetic. you know, I
Hmm.
I see it going like I don't think it's a mistake that we get an alien with synthetic and then a predator, excuse me, with a synthetic. Um, like working with them in their respective ways. One is controlling, one is befriending. So I think somewhere along the line between the two franchises that eventually there's going to be um, a matchup where rivaling synthetics are using their respective alien to for world domination. So like I don't know, um, but that's
Right.
kind of like where I see
And
it
I
going.
don't want to get too far ahead of myself with trying to predict or trying to make connections that aren't there. But there is uh, a humanoid alien queen in the comics, which I don't know if it has relevancy or not, but it is a theory that is floated out there. And
Oh
there
yeah,
have been instances of predators, befriending humans and or synthetics to defeat a common threat and things like that. But
yeah. Like that's not an
I find it
uncommon
interesting
thing.
how they will. No, but like that's a good thing because it's not something that I made a correlation with. But you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
It's something to look out for.
and I know that the comics have toyed with that, with that idea, and use it as a part of storylines in the comics. Like
Hmm.
I know that, particularly ones from the '90s. Like not
Mm-hmm.
unfamiliar with it, um, but it coming into the shows just like it's kind of weird, man. Because like for comics, I just be like, oh, okay, that's an interesting story. But I want my movies to be in my show, or if you give me something live action, I want that to be airtight. Like I just feel like
Right.
comics are able to get away with a thing that live action like does not. So
No, that and then especially the time frame of when the comic book was written.
yeah,
Because I get really beside myself when people think it's the holy grail of all things when something is true to a comic book. Is like, when was this comic book written? When was it
yeah,
published?
yeah. No,
Because
absolutely, yeah,
those things don't always translate to the times that we're in now and what people want to see in media. That
yeah.
is not the case.
Yeah, so I see something like that happening, and I'll be honest, I'm not exactly like, especially after watching the film yesterday. Like, if there was another thing announced, I wouldn't be excited for the future. And actually, before I go too far, I wanted to bring this thought up. One of the other things that I did not like about this film was us getting the ending of Avatar in it. It would, it felt like watching the end of Avatar, like this person in a mechanical, mecha suit thing battling people.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what it felt like.
yeah. Hey, it's funny because you went Avatar. The only thing that came to my mind was aliens
Mm, because of
when
James
she's
Cameron.
fighting the queen at the end. That's what I thought about. I was like, oh,
Nah, I'm talking
oh,
about the literal,
right. The literal, yeah.
like
Mhm.
because
That's a good one.
yeah, nah, because that's what it reminded me of, seeing Deck like rush up the arm and all that stuff. It just reminded me of what was it the character named Jake fighting that dude that had a
But
problem
you
with him.
you 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 are right about that.
Yeah, that's what that reminded me of. I'm like, man, we didn't seen this before. Y'all need to get creative, man.
But
Like,
that
like come on.
that reminds me of
And
something that we haven't discussed yet.
oh, so now
That
okay,
the very end.
I just now understood what you meant about you were talking about Ripley fighting the Queen when I said
Yeah.
Avatar. That's because
Hmm.
of the yellow suit. Like the
Right.
yellow, yeah, not suit, but the the loader that
Yeah.
she was, yeah. Okay,
The
okay.
walking forklift.
It just and that makes sense too, bro. Like they was really trying to call it back the callbacks, bro. Oh my god.
Yeah. I was saying a lot of those were a little overdone, but I
That
understand
was
it. I
really
get it.
overdone.
I see it. But I'm not. I'm not there.
That's
I'm just not
crazy. I
there.
went Avatar, you went Aliens.
Hmm.
Mm. Nah, but
But
go ahead. I'm
talking
sorry.
about that brought me to another thing that we have yet to discuss or talk about,
What's up?
because we did get another piece of information, but I don't know how I feel about it.
Talk about the mother.
Yes.
We'll see if it follows true to comics and novels. If, because aren't they supposed to be bigger than the males?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Rob. I'm unsure about the canonicity of female Yautja or female predators.
Yeah, in some
I'm not hip. I
yeah,
can't even give you a real answer.
yeah,
But
some iterations.
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, they're supposed to be larger than the males, man. Um, so we'll see what
I've seen
happens.
that.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I like that ending didn't move me. It really didn't, because I was just like, oh, okay. Like it, because like no offense, but it's like, what significance am I supposed to feel for her? Like, why is this such a big reveal?
Well,
If they're considered male, like, and not like asexual, then a female predator would have to be a thing. So why is that a big thing? I don't understand.
oh, really, the only thing I'm going on from the scene is just the tone,
Mm.
because uh, the synthetic, she asked him like you know them. He's like, nah, but he flips his sword open and like, that's my mom. Like, bro, what do you mean? And she's in a bigger uh, a, a Land Cruiser that looks larger than the home that their clan is staying in. It's like, yeah, what is the real implications behind it? Like,
I get
it,
it.
I,
I just wasn't moved by it.
it just, the whole story leaves me with more questions than answers based on what I thought we were going to get lore wise.
I get it.
I just want answers to questions about. I just want to be able to learn and know more about them. Period.
It kind of
I don't
reminds
want to
me.
go on some family friendly journey. Regardless if you had the right amount of violence and gore and things like that, I want to know about them. You could add all that stuff in. You could tell the story how you want to, but we need the information.
It
We've
kind
been in this for I don't know how, before I was even born. Like, people have been in this for so long. As a fan base as a whole, whether if you're new, young, or old, we deserve to have that type of information.
Man, it's not we're not the demographic anymore. And I think that's the illusion that we've had this whole time, brother. I really do think that those of us that grew up in the 80s and early 90s, because I've grown up in the 80s and early 90s. I was born in the 80s. Um, I think that we made ourselves believe that when these franchises were picked back up, that they would leave all, start where they left off at, and that we would get answers, that they would move the needle forward in a meaningful way. And
Mm-hmm.
in some cases, we get that, but in most cases, we don't. We end up getting reboots. We end up getting rehashes. We end up getting
Yep.
things that is meant to capture a younger audience. And my whole
Yep.
thing, and I always go back to this. To me, it is such an insult to not give us what we want, because we are the ones that have kept franchises alive. So why do you need to reboot? Why do you need to go with a younger audience? Why can't they just catch up to us? But it always comes down to the mighty
Well,
dollar. It comes down
well,
to
that
merchandising. Even
there,
with
there,
Predator
there
Badlands.
is a middle ground that can be reached. I would say Dan Trachtenberg, like he he didn't point and make fun of us or take shots at the purist fan base,
Mhm.
but I did feel uneasy when the synthetic is on his back and they're walking. She's asking him all the questions I want to know as a fan.
So
I
you're
thought that was
basically, yeah, so
oddly
you're
interesting. Like,
basically saying
you
he's
know,
aware. He's aware
yeah, I'm saying,
of.
like, and you
Mhm.
gave him props for that, and I will too. But at the same time, like, you're visibly aware
Mhm.
of what people actually want, and you can actually put that 10 to 15 minute part in your story.
Mhm.
But for whatever reason, we just can't have it.
Some people, they like to live in obscurity, man. And they would rather leave it in mystery and have fans fight over it than, straight out answer it, because maybe it's one of those things where he realizes, like, if he solidly says this thing, then it becomes law. And
Hmm.
it could, and I say could, it could have implications on things that he's not trying to, like, because if he comes out solidly and makes a thing, then
Hmm.
it disrupts people's perception of canon. You see what I'm
Well,
saying?
no, that's fair because that's the problem that Prometheus and things like that face.
Hmm.
Once they come out in the earlier time period and they set things in stone, it
Hmm.
rubs people the wrong way for sure.
So he may have been trying to avoid doing something like that completely changes, like the scope of something much larger, um than what he did. And you know, the
No,
Predator
that's
franchise,
respectable.
yeah, the Predator franchise, in my opinion, was on life support anyway. Because like I said, the Predator really, God, it really did a number. And all Prey had to do was not be bad, in my opinion. I still like, I do have my issues with the film that I'm not going to,
Hmm.
get into, because like it's such a thoughtful and good film. I just hate that it's a Predator film. Like I do, because I don't like. I'll just say it like this: I don't like that they took the technology of the Predator that far back. I didn't like that.
Right. And see,
I
and that goes back to my conversation when we had when we were talking. You have to explain certain things. It don't have to be a 15-minute monologue,
Yeah,
you don't have to, but at least 5 to 10 minutes just to give a quick, like, this is why he looks like this because
yeah,
he's from this side of Yalta Prime. That's why his weapons look like this because they're from here or they do
yeah.
things this way. It just like the difference between Dex family and their weapons compared to the Yautja from Prey. Their look and their weapons, night and day.
Hmm.
We have no logical reasoning or explanation other than they're just from a different planet. That don't work because even then you don't even say it in your film.
Yeah,
I said there has to be something. Give us something where we
yeah.
can lean on to where we understand more in depth of what's going on. It don't have to be this big gravitas cookie crumbs of lore, but give us something to
I
fill in the
I, I
blank so we're
really
not
I
sitting here looking stupid.
I really think, and this is just me, I really think he understands and knows about those people that are trying to make themselves seen and heard in the internet world, with these novelists and these comic enthusiasts. And they are trying to insert themselves as a subject matter experts, and I think he's trying not to piss them off. That's my
Mm.
personal take, is that
No, because he said something in the interviews I'm looking at. He definitely mentioned internet culture and how things are being perceived. He definitely
Mhm.
addresses some of that, and you're on the money again.
kind of, bro, I don't miss a lot. And it may be sound arrogant to most people, but I don't miss a lot. But I think he's purposely trying not to piss them off, because he knows that once he does something, it's law. Like it's law in a way that it's going to discombobulate those people. Because as long as you don't touch the thing, these other things can exist in obscurity. You see what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And people
Hmm.
can have the platform to say, like, oh, well, this is this and this is that because it was in this comic and that was in that comic, even though they know even though they know, at least they should
Hmm.
know that it's
Hmm.
not really official to, like, a lot of these stories. I'm not saying all of them, but a
Right.
lot of them are not truly, like, canon. Like that that's like me, because I well, one of the first ones I read, actually, back in the day, back in the 90s, actually, were Batman versus Predator.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like,
Yeah.
I take that and be like, yeah, no, that's canon, because Predator's in it, and I got to tie it in somehow. So somehow the Gotham universe actually exists in the Predator franchise.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? Like,
Mm. Right. So
and
not necessarily the story itself, but the setting and the people could happen in its own
you see what I'm saying?
separate type of canonicity that connects to the bigger universe. That's the baseline of what they use in xenomorph stories and comic books and other writings.
Yeah, because like the Predator just went had a showdown with Wolverine.
Yep.
Um, what was another? So another interesting tidbit, and part of the reason why I keep the movies and the unless explicitly stated, I keep the movies and comics and novels separate as their own thing, unless it's explicitly stated that it's official to these things. And the
Right.
reason why I do it is because you had an instance, and you only need one really, but it's a more recent one. When Prey came out, it completely changed the origin of the pistol because they had a comic back in the '90s that gave that backstory.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how the elder Predator from Predator 2 got his hands on it, and that he was in
Right.
contact with the man, and they was fighting people back to back. And then, as a dying gesture, um, the man gave the Predator the pistol or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But that's completely changed in Prey. Does not happen. Like, and so that's why I'm saying like people should not be taking certain things as gospel because the movies have the autonomy to do whatever they want. So just because they haven't like gone to like just because they haven't touched on these certain things, it doesn't mean that it's official. So that's why I'm really careful with what we say is official like knowledge about the Yautja. That's why I'm real
Right.
careful about it
Mm-hmm.
because things can be changed just like that, and you can't do nothing about it. And you be sounding like that
Right.
man Geetham was when my man swore Dragon Ball Super was coming back, and then them times came and went. X amount of years later, tomorrow I was right. No, man, I was right. They didn't release it because I said something. Okay, sir. Okay.
Oh Lord, have mercy. Oh,
Like, okay, sir. Okay. Whatever helps you actually sleep at night. Oh man. But that's all I got, man. I don't want to get into rambling too much about what we didn't like. Because again, I do feel like it was a good film. I
now
think,
we were highly critical, but we were also very, very fair about what we saw. And regardless whether if it was good or bad, I think we still appreciated the experience just because we're Predator fans. To
yeah.
be honest.
Nah, yeah. And like one of the good things about it is that I was able to go with three of my homeboys, man. And, especially dealing with the stuff I'm dealing with, in private life, like actually being
Yeah.
able to go with them, man, and have that experience with them, like it meant a lot because we grew up watching this stuff, together. You know what I'm saying? Like they would come over the house and we would like watch the VHSs. You see what I'm saying? So like being able
Yeah.
to go to the
And
movies with them, the guys I grew up with, like it was a cool thing.
yeah, I can't lie. My favorite part was being able to take my mom, my step pops, buy them
Hmm.
some popcorn, enjoy a show.
Yeah, man. Like it was cool and it was a good environment. Like that's what I'm saying. Like the
Mm.
film, I didn't leave the movie feeling disgusted. It's just you know, just when I think about things critically, like these are the marks I have against it. Like I lie to you, man. Lie to you not. The biggest to me, the biggest probably small infractions, but the biggest one was really the heat vision thing. But I think
Yeah.
part of the reason why they didn't is because if they're going to have him helmetless, he can't change the spectrum of his eyes. Because when they have the
Hmm.
helmet, they can change certain things, be able to see certain things better. And
Yep.
with synthetics, generally speaking, are they giving off body heat? Are they giving off some heat? Like, because, they are, powered by something. So what do they look
Hmm.
like? You see what I'm saying? Because they,
Right.
they, they could look a little cold. They could look a little hot. We don't know because you didn't show us.
And that's another one of those small things that I would complain about. Is that's something you could have gave us because they had like 3 or 4 different sites of vision with the biomask on.
Yeah.
We're never told or described what those different visions of heat or signatures are, or
Yeah.
what they're looking at when they're using it. So
So yeah,
again, this is one of my little things that I want to throw out there because we deserve to know.
yeah, no, yeah, because like yeah, to me that was like honestly like one of the biggest errors that they could have made was not include that as a part of the movie. Like figure out how to do that with synthetics, and I guarantee you because it was synthetics, that's why they didn't do it. I guarantee you that's why they didn't do it.
I mean, it makes all the sense in the world.
because it's like how do you capture that, especially like like yeah, I just think that that would have been a problem. But that
Because like
and the
before we
OG
go,
roar.
like the only interesting callbacks that I can think of is when the Berserker Predator is looking for Adrian Brody, and he messed up his biomask, and he can't see his heat signature because of the
Yeah,
mud and the fire. But then he switches to another mode, and now he can see his heart beating behind
yeah,
cover.
yeah,
What is that? What is that?
yeah,
That those are the, like questions we need answers to. Just small stuff.
yeah. But they really messed up. As much as Deck was roaring and all that stuff, not having the OG roar, man. The OG roar, bro.
Man, he a little boy.
Nah, man. His voice was deep. His voice was too deep for that.
No, at the beginning, I didn't know that was him talking. I'm like, yo, that's him. He got a
Yeah,
lot of bass.
that's what I'm saying. Bro's voice was deep, so I need his roar to be like, like Jungle Predator, man. I need
His
that.
lungs, his lungs little.
Nah, bro. The way he was trying to cling to life when brother was about to chop him up, when he thought his brother was about to chop him up. I
Yeah.
need that roar, man. That to me is the biggest callback that you can have with the Predator films. It's actually two things. It's really two things that if you're going to continue to do Predator films, bro, you got to have you got to have both of these in there. You got to have the roar, and you got to have somebody being called an ugly motherfucker. You got to, bro. Like without those two, it's not genuine. I'm sorry. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. You got to have it. That's why Predator 2 is his number 2 behind Predator 1, man. You are
No, I
one.
feel that. That's a
No,
very respectable opinion, and we won't come across a lot of people with that type of opinion.
because the way that they did it was funny as hell in Predator 2. And it wasn't like, the thing was like, it's kind of weird because it was meant to elicit humor, but then it elicited terror in the net, like
Mm-hmm.
literally in a moment's notice. Because he was looking at it like, because like, you are one ugly mother. Then that thing grabbed that man's face.
Mm-hmm.
Motherfucker. Like it was funny but terrifying at the same time, bro.
Right. And that'd be another thing. You never really felt any type of existential terror or dread, other than the opening when their dad's killing Deck's brother.
I ain't really feel no dread. I just felt like, damn, that's fucked up.
You know, it was saying. And to your point, that's what I'm saying. You don't get those feelings of a Predator movie. You get elicited feelings from like happy and laughter and things like that. It's not
Yeah.
you don't you don't
That's what I'm
you don't
saying.
get the same
It's a
elicited
hard
emotions.
sell. It's a really hard sell to get me to feel something for these dudes because they're murderers, bro. I don't care if they got honor with it or not. Like they are
Cold blooded,
murderers.
cold blooded.
And don't apologize for it. Like if you got it, what makes it what makes it bad, bro, is that like if you live in a carry open and carry state, bro,
Mm-mm.
you live in an
Mm-mm.
open and carry state, bro, you a toast. Like
Oh
you are
man.
cooked to the degree,
Yeah.
bro. It's a field day
And,
for them dudes.
hey, don't be walking to the dollar store with a pocket knife on
That's
you.
what I'm
You're
saying.
cooked.
That's what
You're
I'm
cooked.
saying. Like, oh my god, because like you just
You will
trying,
be filleted in a tree.
bruh, like, and you're just trying to like get from point A to point B so that other people not messing with you. You're not signing up to be hunted by an extraterrestrial being.
A literal existential threat that is 10 times stronger than you.
Like that's why that in Predator 2, man, that subway scene is so brutal. Cause I don't know if you remember, bro. It was an old lady that was sitting down that was holding a pistol, bro. And my man grabbed her face.
Mm-mm.
I was like, yo, he is such a whoo. That Predator was vicious, man. Whoo. Cause
Yeah.
it caught her like, I don't know if you remember the exact scene. I'll send it to you if you haven't. But it was like it was when they were showing like a collage of like back to back like people he was killing in his heat vision. so you didn't really
Mhm.
see it outright. But hers was the last one that you saw. She was like kind of looking around and screaming, and his hands went over her face. I was like, "Oh, he got Granny, bro." Just like, "Oh, he got Granny, bro." But that was such
Yeah,
a
just pure savagery.
like, and the person he had, mercy on was the pregnant one. But the way he did Jerry, bro, oh man, ripped that man's spinal column out the way he did. That man's body just plopped like a bag of potatoes, bro. Had
Mhm.
my man Danny Glover, no, Jerry.
Man.
And look, then made it worse was carrying that joint on his back while he was like running and scaling buildings. Then went on the top of one building and was getting electrocuted, just like I'm that motherfucking man. Like, oh my god, bro, that predator was.
Yeah, the city hunter was on different type of timing. He was on different type of timing for
like,
sure. And I like that concept because my favorite Predator game of all time, Concrete Jungle, the beginning kind of starts off in that type of environment. It's one of the hottest summers ever. Gangsters are running amok in the city, and you got this predator running through trying to
oh,
find his ultimate kill, and it gets nasty.
bruh, like. Like we like one day we gotta do a full breakdown of the Predator 2, bro. Cause my God. He was like from his intro, bro. He was on demon time, man.
Mhm.
He was on that's why I'm like, how can you not like that film? How do people fix their mouth to rank that movie so as low as they do? Like y'all are tripping. Just because Arnold Schwarzenegger was not in the movie does not make that a bad film, bro. That movie
Nah,
was on 10 from the beginning, bro. We literally the movie starts with a shootout between the police and was it the Puerto Ricans?
I don't. And look, I put you. I don't have anything bad to say about the movie, but for me and the way I view, what I'm saying, these action films with alien predator things, like the action is what sells me the most. But the most interesting part about two was at the end, the very end,
Yeah, no.
and then they all pop up in unison, like Danny Glover sitting there shitting himself.
He was, bro. Talking about who's next? Nah, bro. You was next. You was next, bro. You wasn't beating that. You
You know
wasn't
what I'm
beating
saying?
that.
Like there's a level of, because the honorable ones when they go on hunts, they are watching.
Yeah, they
Even in
are.
AVP, they are paying attention. So I find it very interesting. The city hunter and how he cared about doing his business. Oh my God, he was so ruthless, and he
He
was
was.
doing everything in order, in tow of what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, I think the novelization of that one is interesting, bro. 'Cause it gives things from like its point of view, bro, and it gets real interesting. It gets real interesting, like really getting it, and like how he's playing with Harrigan, like preparing him for their showdown. And
Hmm.
as a kid, bro, like, and literally as a kid, like I didn't really get that, you know, but like they literally tell you throughout the film, like one the lady cop, I remember she's like, he's messing with you, Mike, and I'm thinking like, no, he's not. He just he's just killing niggas. Like, I ain't
Right.
really, but nah, like yeah, it's like he was really focused on Harrigan because of what he saw in him when Harrigan
Hmm.
gets on the scene. Like he's seeing all this destruction, and here come this dude. He like driving in, guns blazing, takes all them dudes out. He looking like, oh yeah, he the one. And when he could
Right.
have taken him out, in the very beginning when he could barely see him, he's like, yeah, nah, save you for later, bro. So like everything that he was doing was just like provoking that man, like and getting him
Hmm.
prepped. Like it's crazy, and,
So he could get the best fight he possibly could out of him.
yeah, no, exactly. And it's kind of similar to that with Arnold, man. And I think that's why they kind of went that route in two, because in the first one, it just kind of happens like that, where
Hmm.
Arnold, because he's the major, you know what I'm saying? Like he's in
Right.
charge. And so, he's the alpha, and little by little, all his people are getting taken out, and then he's left. And the Predator absolutely has mercy on that dude because he could have like especially when he caught him up in the water. It
Hmm.
it, it could have been curtains. It could have been curtains right there. because you know he was pissed. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm getting too far in the weeds, man. We got to end this one because I could go on this all day.
Yeah,
But
we do it because we'll be sitting up here for another 2 hours talking about Predator movies.
yeah, nah. But yeah, man. So I want to thank you for joining us, audience, man. Be on the lookout for more content. We do apologize for our absence, man. Life has been happening to the three of us, but as of right now, it's going to be the two of us. We're going to be consistent, giving you all this content. Let us know the type of things you want to talk about below, man. Give us some ideas because we got some ideas, but we want to go with what the audience wants. So if we need to stay on this Predator tip, man, I have no problem, as you can see, with us discussing any of the movies, man. Like I wouldn't mind doing a deep dive on the first, starting with the first one, man, and just how how we rank that one. How good it is, like the themes that we saw, and just how badass it is.
Yep.
But yeah, just let us know and check us out both on TikTok. I'm the Ascended Nerd. James is Slingshot. I think you have does you have 2 zeros at the end of your name on
Yep.
TikTok? Yep,
Yep.
Slingshot.
Slingshot 00.
Yeah, and encourage James to do content because he be slumming on that.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie to you guys, including Rob. I definitely fell off of my content train, but
hmm
I think it's a good point for me to start getting back on track.
It's
Like you said, life is happening to a lot of us. I really haven't been feeling it, but getting us back on track with this episode, I think it'd be a good starting point for me to get back in there.
yeah, man. So yeah, just holler at us, man. Like I said, let us know what you think. We appreciate you guys for listening, and we will holler at you guys later.